What's up, everybody? Peter X. Disselcoffer here. Welcome back to another episode of Classic Songs, and today we are going to do the first nationwide hip hop hit ever, Rapper's Delight. And if you go back to the rise of rap, I talk about the first time I heard the song and the effect it had on me and others. The song is a classic. Actually, samplers weren't around yet, so what they did is the song is based off of Good Time, Good Times by Chic. And so they learned how to play that. The bass player on this who plays, that classic bass line from a, similar to Good Times by Chic of 17. Forget his name. Interesting background story. Sylvia Robinson, who had a disco hit in the early 70s, Pillow Talk. She started up Sugarhill Records because she, saw what was happening in the streets and put this band together, the Sugarhill Gang, and a little controversial at the time because there were other folks, Cool Herc and others, who really started hip hop and got it going. And essentially, the Sugar Game was kind of a studio band, and just before it was released, they did some live performances and stuff. But so at first, some of the pioneers of hip hop who've been out there, you know, crafting it and doing the work of what hip hop what would come would was at the end of the 70s. We're not real happy because, like, who are these guys and where'd they come from? And so we legend has it that either they went to a Chic concert or Chic came to. I think they went to a Chic concert and jumped up on stage and rapped to it, and you know, Chic kind of thought it was cool, but they did not go and get permission from Chic, to use a slightly redone bass line from Good Times. So Chic ended up suing and got partial songwriting credit on the song. Classic song. Yeah. So this is the very first hip hop song, bass that most people heard, and already a lot of the themes that we'll see in hip hop come up. So let me just drop a few here. Fashion and looking good. Sexuality and sexual conquest. The braggadocio, the bravado that would become big in hip hop. Dissing, talking about Superman and call Superman a fairy, and dancing and partying. So gotta drop this here at this point too. But there's a line in there talking about flying through the air with pantyhose, uh, or a fairy with pantyhose on the Superman line. Let's be real. It's a little, it's kind of disparaging to the LGBTQ community. So that has to be, talked about. And, it's not the only song in early hip hop that, has what today would be considered anti-LGBTQ elements to it. So, it's an important song in the history of hip hop and in the history of music. So we have to, talk about it, but we also have to, talk about the anti-LGBTQ aspect of the song as well. So it's there. And let's acknowledge it. They also talk about a lot about the funk in the song, in the lyrics, and so they acknowledge, they come out of the funk and that they were uh, influenced by the funk. So Rapper's Delight is ranked 251 out of the Rolling Stones list of the top 500 songs, and so this is a classic, and it's it's almost as much funk as it is hip hop, and that's the beauty of the song because we're transitioning out of effectively out of funk, and this is the start of that transition from funk to hip hop. Hey, things change. I'm a funk guy, but hey, things change, and there are transitions, and this is the start of that. But I love the fact that they give props um, to funk in this song and acknowledge the the contributions of the funk. And mixed in also, there's two versions. There's a short version and there's a longer version. And in the longer version, there's a story told where the rapper goes to a friend's house and has bad food, fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. And so this is later on Ice Cube becoming on the scene and really perfect the storytelling aspect, lyrically. And I think Ice Cube is one of the great lyricists of hip hop history, and really one of the great lyricists of all time. Ironically, I mean, it's not as present in hip hop and even in rock. I mean, the whole storytelling aspect, ironically, comes out of country music, but obviously Ice Cube's a great storyteller, and uses it throughout his career to effectively into his to his advantage. And so, but this is the first kind of glimpse of that, the storytelling in hip hop coming out in Rapper's Delight. Yeah, so Rapper's Delight's been used in a lot of movies over the years. I can't remember. There's I don't know if The Wedding Singer or something like that. I know they have where two older white gentlemen rap it. I mean, it's just a classic song. People love the song. I'm surprised it hasn't been sampled. Uh, you know, but I guess it's just one of those like, hey, so we're gonna leave it alone. It's the first, and we're just gonna leave it alone and let it be the classic that it is. So yeah, I think we covered the basics here. One of the structure of the song is actually pretty basic, and it comes out of um, James Brown's philosophy of songwriting, and it was prevalent through the 80s, 90s, and it's still pretty prevalent in hip hop. And just, hey, strip the song down, don't get fancy, and do what you got to do, and move on. So, I mean, if you go back and listen to Good Times by Chic, there's a lot more going on there than in Rapper's Delight. I mean, the hook of this song is a nice beat, but it's that bass, it's that driving bass that dum 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 dum. That's the and funk is often the bass. That's the hook, and in this song, there's not much much more going than that bass and the hook, and that's all. I mean, it's so good. That's all you need. So anyway, doing a short one, I think on check out, but hit the like button. Um, got 4 albums. Check them out. Here on my YouTube channel, also on all the streaming services. Check those out. Got 2 science fiction fantasy novels on Amazon and also a novella. So see you next time. Appreciate your support and have a good one.